What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Hardwood Convos podcast. I'm Brock Bierman alongside, as always, with the Hardwood Convos crew, Hunter Rose, Dawson Livingston, and Chase Winterbore. We're going to talk some NBA hoops like we usually do every week, and we got some interesting topics on tap for tonight. We'll dive right into our main one, and that is the NBA awards requirements and expectations for players to be eligible for NBA awards. A little different compared to previous years. You didn't really have to play a certain amount of games to be eligible for teams or award uh, recognition. And I'll pretty much open it right away up to you guys to talk about this and dive into this topic. What are your guys' thoughts on the 65 game requirement that there is currently in the NBA to be eligible for an award? And I think it is for all NBA selections as well. So pretty much you play 65 games and you can get recognized. And if you don't, even though you may have had an amazing season, oh well. But what are your guys' thoughts on this rules? And what do you like it, dislike it? Do you want to see the NBA maybe change it a little bit? Do you want exceptions depending on certain situations? But what do you guys feel about the current, well, I guess the new rules that have been in place this year with NBA awards?
Here, I can start it off because was the one that really wanted to talk about this. I know everyone hates this rule, but I don't think it's as bad as we are making it out to be. I think the main reason why people are getting so upset is because the MVP, like Joel Embiid, he was the MVP frontrunner the entire year up until his injury. I think where I do think that the 65 game minimum requirement is messed up is when you start like tying awards and like all NBA teams with contracts. Like Halliburton, I think if he would have, he's not going to hit the 65 game minimum this year. I think if he would have, and he's going to make an all NBA team, presumably, he would have made it hit 240 million on his next contract, whereas now his max is only going to be 200 million. So he just loses $40 million over an injury here or there. So that's where I think it can be like people can hate it. But overall, I do think like it's not the worst thing in the world because like when you look at the MVP especially, I think no MVP has ever won playing less than 65 games. So in that aspect, I don't hate it. I just hate that the fact that we're tying these like accomplishments into contracts, and that's why players are hating the rule more and more.
Hunter, what do you think?
Thoughts,
All right, I was
Hunter?
looking something up. Spade is a hot take. Now following Dawson, I have no problem with it. I'm not gonna lie. I do think it should be less games. I could see it as being like, like maybe 60 games or something. But like, I mean, Brock's got pulled up here. You gotta show up to your job 80% of the time. If you get injured, like that sucks. Like that happens. But like Dawson said too, like if I remember right, there's only a handful of players I think that have actually played less than that. And all of them are basically because it was a shortened season. That's it. That's all. Every other time, it's like you were able to play over. I do agree. I think, especially with like the way contracts are built, with like the incentivization to like do that, I think things are gonna have to change for that because that's a really hard thing to do. Where it's like if you get injured, like there is the reality of missing out on it. I think there should probably be some sort of protection system, maybe. I don't know how you would do it. But like with contracts specifically, just be like, all right, you had some sort of injury, you were on track or on pace to reach this certain amount, some sort of trajectory of hitting a certain mark. It's like we can at least like, I don't know, do half of it or something. But especially like with Hallie, for example, love the Cyclone legend. You one of the few guys on the Pacers I respect. Averaging 13 points a game post All-Star break is not going to get you on an All-NBA team. I'm sorry. Just saying.
12 points yesterday, man.
0 points a few days ago.
Yeah.
Let's hold him accountable, okay? Let's hold him accountable.
He's having that All-Star break hangover, especially with it being in Indianapolis and doing so well.
But overall, I do agree that, there does need to be some sort of thing in place, some tweaks, some things here and there. But overall, I think it makes the game better in the fact that we get to see the best players on the planet play more basketball.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kawhi Leonard, for making this a reality.
Exactly, and he's basically the reason I feel like this rule, it should be called the Claw rule or the Kawhi Leonard rule, because he's the reason that we're kind of talking about this, because he's been the leader of the load management train for all these years, and because of that, they had to step in and make some kind of requirement. Now, of course, Kawhi Leonard, I don't think he cares about these awards at all, so it doesn't affect him, but it affects everybody else. And I'm kind of on Hunter's side. I kind of like this rule because you don't win Employee of the Month for showing up 2 times and all that stuff. But at the same time, I get that situations happen where contracts could be affected, and the bonuses that they get from winning awards is huge. And that's why a lot of players do strive to get those awards. And something needs to happen when it comes to adjusting it, so they can address those situations when they occur, because Joel Embiid probably would have won MVP this year, and unfortunately will not be eligible for that or an all NBA team. And it's just thanks to Kawhi Leonard, really, because I feel like I think Joel would have probably made a all NBA selection if this rule wasn't in place. But because of the new rules, he will be left out because he had a great year this year. But unfortunately, injuries caught up to him, which seems to be a common theme with his career. But that's just the current situation.
And I think, too, this will sound very familiar for Laker fan Chase when talking about Anthony Davis. But, like, the best ability is availability. And, accidents happen. Things happen with injuries at the end of the day. You can't account for everything. So that's, especially when it's like the little, like, all right, 2 games here, 2 games there, 3 games here, 3 games there. It's like, man, show up, please. Like, people are paying to watch you play. I get we should be protecting players. We should be protecting their health. I'm not saying that by any means, and then also shout out StatMuse. I found there are only 5 players in NBA history that have played less than 65 games. Karl Malone played 49 and 1. Bill Walton played 58 and 1. LeBron James played 62 and 1. Giannis 63 and 1, and then Bob Cousy 64. And only one of those
legend.
played a full 82 game season. Shout out Celtic legend against the old plumbers and electricians. Anyway,
I knew that was coming. I just wanted to say Celtic legend because I knew you were going to bring out the plumber comment. But Chase, what are your opinions on this rule? And Hunter mentioned it. You being a Lakers fan, it kind of affects your team a little bit depending on the year with Anthony Davis. And even I don't think LeBron's ever has he ever had a season where he's played less than 65 games except for the shortened season.
Maybe
that's a good
first game, maybe as a first season as a Laker, he was out for a really long time with that groin
injury.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But like even then, like sometimes people complain about LeBron not always being available, but like I will give him credit. He tries to be available as much as possible, and the difference between the LA teams, because that's where I kind of see this rule being a huge part of it, is that the Clippers, it's intentional on why some of those players don't play. The Lakers, it's unintentional, and usually it's unfortunate because they have a lot of great players that just can't stay healthy, like Anthony Davis. So, Chase, what are your opinions on this rule?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, like I really don't have like a huge opinion on it, but I will say, being the Kobe guy that I am, I mean, obviously everyone knows Kobe, whether he was like tweaking a little bit or he's injured a little bit, he would go out there. He knew fans were paying to see him, and like Hunter said earlier. So yeah, I don't know, hopefully I don't sound like a boomer here, bringing up like old NBA stuff, but like I appreciate like, Kobe doing that type of stuff, and just like we need more of that in our game, I feel like. So I'm probably definitely more pro towards the rule, and kind of like what you said with the Lakers. Yeah, like obviously everyone knows AD's kind of injury prone and all, but I mean, I don't know too. I mean, I probably am in favor of the rule because obviously you guys all know how much I hate Kawhi Leonard as well. So I'm probably in favor of it. And yeah, and it's crazy too. I mean, I don't mean to glaze LeBron on the pod, but I mean, it's crazy. I mean, this guy is like, yeah, I know, but it's crazy, man. I mean, this guy is like freaking 38 years old, bro, and he's just out here battling. I mean, he's playing more games than some of these other guys, and I don't know. It's just kind of mind blowing to me. So I'm definitely in favor of the rule. And obviously, like injuries happen, and you can't control some injuries, and it sucks. But that's life. So I'm probably in favor of it.
And Dawson, I'm kind of curious because this was kind of the topic that you wanted to hit on the last couple weeks. What do you see? Where should this rule go from here to combat that issue with incentives and all that?
So I am all with you guys. I like this rule. I like that there should be a requirement of games played to qualify for the awards. Where I think the NBA has messed up is when you start factoring in these awards and these like honors with like the contract that these players get. It's not, in my opinion, I don't think it's fair to the players at all. If, let's say, Anthony Edwards only plays 64 games, so he's not eligible for that rookie supermax, and instead of making 260 mil or 250, whatever it is, he loses 50 mil off of missing like a few games. I think that's where the rule is like flawed severely. But when it comes to like winning MVP, that should be a must. All NBAs, I know we've had all NBA players play less than 65 games. I think LeBron had that 2 years ago when the Lakers were really bad with Russ. But I do like the fact and the placement of the rule. I just hate the fact that we tie money with this rule because I think that's where a lot of the hate and I think a lot of the negativity towards this rule comes from.
Real quick, I did look it up. LeBron has had 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons, not counting the NBA lockout season, that he would not be eligible for any award or all NBA selection. All 5 of those coming from the Lakers.
Yeah.
But still, that blew my mind, kind of, because it seems like even then he's still showing up to play games. But that just shows you how big of a deal the Kawhi Leonards and the Paul Georges and the load management issue has become, because LeBron's playing 55 games a year. LeBron will be eligible for awards this year based off of how much he's played this year. So this will be the first year since the 2019-2020 season. Yeah, since they won the title that he'll be eligible. But it just shows you how much certain players just refuse to play.
Is Brock a LeBron stan now? Hold on. Is he
no,
a LeBron
it's
fan
me.
now?
It's me
That's
more hating on the Clippers.
Did he grow up? Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Back.
Wait a minute.
Hey, speaking of
I
LeBron, 40K.
40K.
Oh yeah.
Woo! 1 week later.
Okay, that's all I had to say.
Yeah. Pete Maravich didn't have a 3-point line, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Amen, bro.
Yeah.
I'm completely kidding. But
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Take that back.
You're not.
I will say I've been watching a couple podcasts. Of course, the thing I'm referring to is Caitlin Clark passing whatever record. But I was watching a couple podcasts today, and one of them was talking about Travis Scott being at the game, and they're like, "Who's Travis Scott?" And I'm like, "Oh God, we've reached that level of I don't know, like just boomerness with some of these podcasters that I listen to." I'm like, you don't know, even I know, like, okay, Hunter and Chase know. Dawson may not know about me and my music, but I do not listen to rap, this current rap generation. If it's not
Kid Rock, baby.
If it's not headbanging, I ain't listening to it. But even I knew who Travis Scott was. And when I heard that these people weren't fully understanding who he was and how big of a deal it was that he was at that game for some people,
dude, Jake
I thought it was hilarious.
And I feel bad because his name definitely is not Jake from State Farm, but I don't know what his name is. So he's just Jake
it's
from State
Jake
Farm. It is actually Jake. That's crazy.
I have no idea. I kind of want to look it up.
That'd be wild.
Can we just point out how they like completely just replaced the original Jake from State Farm and went with a different guy? Like,
yeah,
I don't know what happened to old Jake from State Farm.
I just thought it was hilarious. Like the original,
khakis.
like, you know, what are you wearing? Khakis. And then like that was the last. That was the
hideous.
That was the last time we ever heard from original Jake from State Farm. I don't know what he's doing. I don't even know if he's alive anymore. If he is, I hope he's living life great. But like, that's just something that popped up in my mind when I saw some of the photos from that game with the Iowa Hawkeyes. But getting back into the NBA, we can get into the power rankings a little bit and look at the top 5 of the NBA currently. And not a lot of shock with some of these teams being mentioned. Of course, the Celtics absolutely dominated against the Golden State Warriors. There's not really much to like recap in that game. Hunter's shaking his head. I don't know if he wants to talk about that game or not.
I don't.
But Hunter, your Denver Nuggets are also moving up in the power rankings as well. Hunter's having a great league.
No.
But what are your guys' reactions to this top 5? I can also go through the remaining top 10 if we want. There's the top 5 with Boston, Denver, OKC, Clippers, and Timberwolves. And then from there at 6, we have the Bucks. So Hunter's Bucks right outside the top 5. And then number 7, Cleveland. So there's Dawson's Cavaliers still hanging in there,
bro. They've been
shout out Max Strus though.
That was crazy.
That was the
the whole lead up to that. Man had the most insane heat check I've ever seen in my entire life.
15
and that
minutes.
includes Atlanta Hawks, Kyle Korver against the Milwaukee Bucks. And still it cleared it.
Cinema. Speaking of heating up, the Miami Heat at number 8. And then we got the Mavericks down a couple spots at number 9. And then rounding out the top 10, we got the Sacramento Kings. So what are your guys' thoughts on the power rankings? I know Hunter's teams or teams that he kind of supports have been fluctuating up and down. Mavericks are kind of on a lull right now. Bucks just outside the top 5. But what are your guys' thoughts? What do you guys see from this current power rankings and where it goes from here?
Look, man, I was texting Chase, and he had to take a screenshot of this because nobody would believe this. But, man, Doc Rivers and Patrick Beverley have changed my life, man. Like, this team is actually, I don't know what it is, like, best defensive rating in the entire NBA since getting Doc Rivers, by the way. After Adrian Griffin, throughout the start of the season, it was like, I think 18th in the league or something like that. Now, granted, the offense has dipped. That's kind of to be expected. But Dame's offense has gone up. Yeah, Dame's offense has gone up. Giannis, I'm sorry if you don't have Giannis as the MVP, we can't be friends anymore. Like it's getting ridiculous in my opinion. But even like Malik Beasley, he's not shooting great tonight. They're playing the Clippers, and they're starting to come back, but probably won't see it until this is over. But the other team I want to talk about, and this is why I didn't want Brock to bring up that stupid freaking game. The Golden State Warriors have actually been playing good ball since All-Star break. Even after that atrocious loss, absolutely atrocious. I expected great things, and so did my wallet, and that is where I'll end that sentence. But overall, like they've been playing well. Klay Thompson's been playing well off the bench. His head seems to be in a better place about it too, which probably helps out. Now, if he's faking it, who knows? But overall, they've just been playing a lot better. I think another team that has fallen out of the top 10, I believe the Suns. Yeah, Suns dropped down to 11, and they were at 8 before. They've been weird still. Nurk, 31 rebounds last night. Covered his points, rebounds, and assists with just his rebounds, which is absolutely a crazy statement to say.
I don't think that's the first time he's done that, though. I swear he's done that before.
That's the most rebounds since Kevin Love, like in his T-Wolves. In his Cavs days, I think. I think it was his Cavs or his T-Wolves days. But the Suns are still on this weird, like, either Book's out, Beal's out, or KD's out. And I get that it's not the playoffs yet, but if they don't get this stuff figured out soon, like, clock's ticking, man. Clock is ticking.
I feel like
go
ahead, Chase.
Go ahead, Chase. Okay, yeah, because I actually watched a good amount of games. I watched a lot. So I watched the full game yesterday of the Suns. And obviously, like, everyone knows, like, they just can't keep their big three healthy, right? But what I kind of recognized watching that game was, and what just kind of killed the Suns was when KD was in. And, I mean, even sometimes when Beal was in, too. And credit to the Thunder, too. I mean, every time Durant got the ball, they were just double teaming them and just saying, you know what, we're going to make someone else kill us. And, I mean, I think there was a stat at one time where like I think it was like 2 for 8. Like the Suns team was just from the field when like KD was getting double teamed. I mean, nobody could do anything. So I mean, if they cannot keep their big three healthy and teams pick up on that and just double team Durant, I mean, someone's gonna have to step up. So I just wanted to throw that in there. But
and when your other scoring options are Grayson Allen, shout out Bucks legend, he falls off around this time. Firsthand experience. And Eric Gordon, which like, yeah, but he's kind of old.
2015 would be great.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, the weird one too, Bobo, like, will just get random minutes and do really well. And then other times looks like the worst player to be in the NBA. Which I don't know how that's possible being that.
That's
tall.
been the recap of his career, man. He's been consistently inconsistent.
Mm-hmm. But it's just, yeah, like then that whole team, just in general, like you said, like besides Book, Beal, and KD, like Jay said, somebody has to show up. And I like, we've seen in the playoffs the last few years, there has to be some role player that does that, even if it's not necessarily offensively. Like they'll, provide, like Bruce Brown last year provided some offense. A couple years ago, PJ Tucker provided no offense whatsoever, but provided quite a spark to our team. And when you look at the Suns, like I don't know who that is. I really don't. It's not gonna be Josh Okogie. Sorry. But
dude, that guy stinks. He is awful.
Good defender. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, his offense is terrible, bro.
They could use a Marcus Smart-esque type of player where it's kind of polarizing, where people don't really like him, but on the defensive side,
Beverly,
like seriously, they need
Dylan
that. Like, it's weird because like their roster is like KD, Beal, and Booker. They're like kind of. Beal not really, but like KD and Book, they've definitely have been labeled as bad guys sometimes, like on the court, like villains in the league. But like they don't care. They need someone that will embrace it. They need this. Like they need not Draymond guy specifically. Oh, who?
He plays in Houston. His name is Dylan Brooks. I'm just gonna keep saying that. Yeah. Let's get Dylan Brooks in Phoenix right now.
Also, I'm not disagreeing with you, Brock. Calling Devin Booker a villain is detrimental to the word. That man is a bona fide scrub, as once said by Stephen A. Like, fake tough at its finest. If he played for the Heat, I'd believe it. He'd fit right in so fast.
Hey, speaking of the Heat, we got a comment from our live stream of a certain player for the Phoenix Suns, Max Olson, chiming in with his
great player Royce O'Neal, by the way.
Royce O'Neal mentioned as the guy that could be the spark that the Suns need. But Dawson, what did you think about this power rankings that came out today? I know that you said that you were kind of shaking your head with Cleveland Cavaliers. They moved down one spot, but again, they had a great game winner by Max Strus. Dude, that was so fun to watch. But what are your guys? What is your thoughts on the power rankings?
I'll start with my team and then I'll kind of wander off. Dude, Cleveland's not been playing well as of late. I don't know who's watching Cleveland games other than me. Probably not that many. Okay, Chase is saying he has, and I respect it. You take that Max Strus game winner away, I think they're 3-7 in their last 10. They're bad after the All-Star break. They haven't been playing well. They got bullied yet on Sunday's game against the Knicks, which yet again the New York Knicks are. Gosh, they're one of the teams I can't stand anymore. Freaking Josh Hart gets 20 rebounds against my team.
All those
every
Northeast
time he
teams
plays.
Suck.
Yeah,
I hate all of them except for one.
But I think Cleveland's got some real issues. Donovan's going to be out the next few games because he's injured. They're just not tough right now. They were playing great offense when back in January when they were shooting threes. They stopped doing that for some reason. So that's got me a little concerned. I think they'll turn it around before the playoffs, but we'll see. When we look at the rest of the power rankings, though, I don't know. The Thunder, they played a great game yesterday against the Suns. They have one of the best perimeter defenders in the league that they were putting on Durant and Lou Dort. I think that's a great asset for them in any series.
A torture chamber.
The torture chamber. I was getting ready to say that. But I think I know everyone's going to say, "Oh, we're not going to pick OKC to go far in the playoffs because they're young." I truly don't know if that narrative fits them anymore. They are playing like a veteran-led group, and they got guys like Gordon Hayward, who hasn't had the most like playoff success, but is another great veteran player. Shea's been playing like an MVP this year. Chet's could put, if it wasn't for Victor, would probably win Rookie of the Year. So I really like the Thundermans so far. I feel like they could easily finish. I think they're first or second in the West, but I could easily see them winning at least 55, 57 games.
Dude, yeah, I wouldn't forget J Dub either from Santa Clara. He's a nice piece with them as well. So,
And Chase, I mean, getting switching over to your team, how you feeling about your Lakers? I know LeBron eclipsed 40K, which is great, but I think they didn't come out with the W on that one.
no.
Are you losing? I see. I am from the perspective, and this is probably because of the years of torture that he's put on the Boston Celtics franchise, that the LeBron-led teams are never out until they're like legit, like the final zeros and on the clock, and the team that they're playing in the playoffs has 4 wins in the series. But are you losing hope at all, or are you still on the train? Well, I don't know if you were ever like officially on the train, if that makes sense. You're a Lakers fan, so you're always on it.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, bro. I mean, I don't know, a little bit. If I'm gonna be honest, a little bit, but at the same time, it's like you have LeBron James on your team. I'm probably never gonna lose hope. But I have been. It's kind of been funny just seeing like going on Twitter, seeing like all the memes. It's just the Warriors, Lakers, Warriors, Lakers at the 9 and 10 seed. It's just funny to see that. But I don't think I've lost hope yet. It's just kind of depressing, like because like last year, obviously we got pretty hot after the All-Star break. One thing I will, if we're just gonna talk about the Lakers, I'll just I'll vent a little bit. I don't know why D'Lo is on the bench, and Cam Reddish is getting minutes at the end of the game. I mean, I just for the life of me, I don't understand that, Darvin Ham. If we could get him on the pod and we could ask him a few questions, I would love that because I just don't understand that. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that, but I mean, D'Lo's been playing phenomenal for us this year, and nothing against Cam Reddish, man. But I mean, I don't know. That's gonna drive me insane if we keep doing that. So I don't know. That's just how I'm feeling.
But like Reddish to me has never been like a guy that like could take over a game. D'Lo can, and he's proven that over and over again. So that doesn't make sense to me at all.
No, yeah, I don't know. That's just my thing, and like I don't know. I'm not really like the type of guy who's gonna be like wanting a coach's job gone, but like I'm starting to understand now why like a lot more Laker fans are getting upset, and it's just stuff like that where it's like you can't have D'Lo on the bench, man, when you get a bucket. So I don't know. I probably won't lose hope, and hopefully we'll have like a Lonnie Walker situation again this year. But yeah, I don't know. We're just kind of there and just waiting for the playoffs,
It's one of those things. Again, like I said, it's hard to count out a LeBron-led team. We'll find them somehow in the Western Conference Finals or the Finals at some point.
Can we talk about how? Sorry to interrupt, Chase. How if the play-in started today, we would have the greatest play-in series ever in the West.
Really good.
No one's talking about it. It would be Phoenix and Dallas at the 7-8 and Golden State and the Lakers in the 9-10. So we either could get Curry Durant in the last game or LeBron Durant or LeBron Luka, any of those matchups for the play-in if it's held true today.
Yeah, and like that's what I was saying about the West, man. It's just ridiculous, like how loaded it is with all those teams in there. I mean, I don't know. It's funny though to see you could get Curry and Bron playing in a play-in. So I don't know. That is funny though.
Just aim for the middle rim.
Well said, Brock. Well said. Don't tell Kelvin Adams that.
But for me, looking at this power rankings, of course, personally, it makes me a little happy seeing the Celtics doing so well. I didn't realize that they are now average win margin is 11.4 points per game, which is like 5th best in NBA history. One of the things that makes me really happy is seeing that certain players are shooting really well from behind the arc. I think Drew Holiday leads the league in 3-point percentage from the corner, which I know that's great right now, but like Hunter's warned me and has prepared me for what the playoffs will bring. So whether or not that will actually transfer over, we'll see from there. And I can tell from Hunter's smile, he knows what's coming when it comes to Drew Holiday in the playoffs. But no, I I'm interested to see where the West shakes up. Because the East I feel like the East has a feel for where everybody's going to land up. The West, things can just shake up quickly, and who knows what it's going to look like. I guess I would love to get Chase's opinion on this right now. When you look at the standings, are you the type of guy that would want to take a play-in spot if you're the Lakers because you'd play against a young team that has little to no playoff experience in the Timberwolves or OKC? Or would you rather make the 6 seed or the 5 seed and you're playing Denver or the Clippers?
Well, I never thought I would say this, but I absolutely do not want to play the Nuggets. They absolutely own us, man. I'm just going to be honest. I mean, we got freaking Jokic out here throwing up shots behind his freaking head, and bro cannot freaking miss. It's just not even basketball at this point. Sorry, I'm just going
Can we just point out that this man literally out here showing us a replay of Jokic's performance? That was great. Great.
Literally, how are you like? It's just garbage and whatever. But as long as we don't match up with the Nuggets, I think we're fine. And like we said, I mean, I think that we can beat anyone if we just freaking like have LeBron go off and we just have Braun be Braun. I feel like we can beat anyone. But yeah, with that being said, though, I mean, I think we just get in the playoffs at this point and just don't let any team sneak up behind us because that would be really embarrassing. So. I don't know. I think we're fine playing anyone besides the Nuggets. So, long story short, that'd be my answer.
Well said. And I mean, I can't wait to see this final stretch is going to be so fun when looking at the West. As a Lakers fan, Chase, I can understand why you might be a little stressed watching it because you don't know where your team's going to end up. But everybody else, like us, who are on the East side, we're going to have a bunch of fun watching that. And knowing that our teams don't have to necessarily worry as much about who they would be matching up with. But yeah, that's pretty much a little recap of the power rankings currently.
I'm gonna say, boys, I know March Madness, that's coming up. We're like 20 games away from playoff basketball.
Let's go.
I'm excited.
Oh, I can't wait until the summer, guys. Yeah. It's gonna be so fun talking
I can't
playoffs
wait
with you
to
guys.
hate all of you here for a solid 3 months.
I can't wait for Boston to match up against Miami round 1 and get bounced in 6. Ladies and gentlemen, he is gone.
He's out. He's gone.
We don't talk about that. If that happens, man.
It's okay. Cleveland's going to get bounced in 5 by the Knicks yet again.
Anybody but Miami, man. Anybody but Miami. I can't stand that stupid team.
Hey, Brock, what would you do if it was Miami versus Lakers final again?
I wouldn't watch. Just like in 2020, I wouldn't watch. I would not watch.
We'd have a podcast title that would say, "Is parody ruined in the NBA?" with all exclamation points and all caps. And
yeah, you want to know what
it would just be Brock too. It would just be Brock.
You want to know what that podcast would look like if Miami and LA matches up in the finals? This is what it would look like.
He gone once again.
I would not be on. I would not show myself on this podcast, especially if for some reason somehow the Miami Heat and Celtics met up in the conference finals, and that's just a bubble repeat of stupid plays. Oh my God, I cannot relive 2020. And the thing that upsets me the most is so far in sports, a lot of things have repeated in 2020, and it's really upsetting me right now. It is really upsetting me because I know what's about to happen.
Yep, the Dodgers about to win a World Series. Amen, Brock. Okay, sorry, I didn't. I'm just kidding.
That's fine. I'm fine with the Dodgers winning the World Series as long as it's not Miami in basketball. I don't care about them in baseball. But I know we wanted to touch on a couple of teams with injuries. I know Jalen Brunson's one of them with the Knicks. I think Hunter was the one that kind of listed in our little rundown of teams that have faced injuries over this past week. Hunter, do you want to kind of recap everybody on the pod who may be listening on certain injuries that we should be looking out for right now?
Yeah, I think the top 3, and these go in order probably of severity overall, specifically for the season, not for the future. So number 1, Jalen Brunson went down versus the Cavs. It just looks like, from what I saw, I think it's just like a knee contusion. So he's supposed to be back, but a couple days rest. But who knows? Especially, I think the thing that worries me the most with that is just with a Thibodeau team, if you get hurt, that's not a good sign because then you're going to play 40 minutes the next game. So I mean, I don't think there's anything like too crazy there. The other two, though, are much bigger deals. So Scotty Barnes, I think he broke something or fractured something. I know.
Was it his hand?
I think so. I think he's probably gone for a while. Raptors, though, not in, a spot really for a playoff push. So it's kind of just like, reset. The weirdest thing, though, absolutely, this has nothing to do with the injury. They extended Kelly Olynyk for like $13 million a year. I don't understand what they're doing. I've lost, like, I've tried hyping up the Raptors as like maybe, fringe 5 team. Like, no, I've given up anything for them, which I'm fine with. I don't like them. But lastly, though, Russell Westbrook fractures his hand. He's gone. I feel like that, Russ, coming off the bench. I honestly think that's a big deal for the Clippers. Like, he's not, MVP Russ by any means, but like, it's still Russell Westbrook on your team. And when you have, a team like the Clippers where similar to the Suns, definitely better, but similar to the Suns where it's like when you really only have 3 guys and trying to figure out who's next up, even missing a 4th guy in Russ, I think is a big deal. So those are the main things, though.
And that's a huge, the Knicks one, like you mentioned, with having Tibbs as the head coach, I'd be scared knowing what could be coming from that. And they're on such a high right now of a season. I know they're only 3-7 in the last 10, but whatever happens to them this year, I feel like is a huge success for the future. And the only way it could get ruined is if for some reason Jalen Brunson or someone else on that roster has a similar to how that Bulls run for Thibodeau kind of ended, where everybody just starts getting hurt because he's playing these guys 35, 40 minutes a game, no matter what. But yeah, the Raptors one, the Raptors are stupid. They're that franchise has been lost since Kawhi left, and they got lucky with Kawhi in Toronto. The fact they were even able to get him in the first place still shocks me to this day. That title is one of the biggest flukes in NBA history. And I'm being honest, like, we can go back. The Warriors don't get hurt. They win it, like, hands down. That Warriors team wasn't losing to anybody except for the injury bug. And which is funny that we're talking about the Toronto Raptors having a bunch of injury problems with some of their good players. The Kelly Olynyk thing never has made sense. Why some people hype him up a little bit. He's
but Brock, he's Canadian. That has to be why. Got to play.
Maybe they thought that like him signing an extension for the Raptors will confirm he'll play in the Olympics or something like that. I don't
know why.
It wouldn't shock me if Toronto's like, we're the owner of the Canadian national team, so we're going to sign you to a 2-year extension, not knowing that has nothing to do with what we're doing.
We're extending your citizenship by 2 years so you can continue to play for us.
But yeah, I mean, you guys have anything else that you guys want to quickly shout out before we get to, the wise words of Sensei Hunter Rose before we sign out?
I got nothing, Brock. I got nothing. I'm ready for this.
All right. Dawson, you got anything?
I got nothing, but I'm real excited to hear some wise words of wisdom right now. I am ready.
Oh, baby.
Well, it's that time again.
Oh, baby.
It's time for Sensei Rose's wise words of wisdom with Hunter Rose, also known as Sensei Rose. And Hunter Rose, you have the floor.
Alrighty. So, per usual, we're going to start off with my Milwaukee Bucks. So, I sent out a call. I sent out a plea a few weeks ago to Damian Lillard. Tonight, I just checked. Bucks comeback win. 40-point fourth quarter. Dame, 41 points. That's what I like to see. But secondly, there's a little contingency though on Dame's shooting numbers to improve. Right? I said if Giannis starts shooting the 3-ball well, then I don't need you shooting better. You guys want to take a guess to Giannis's 3-point shooting in the month of February? 42.9%. This man is goated. All right. You can no longer sag off him anymore. He is coming for the title. I am no longer scared of the Voodoo Magic Heat or the Boston Celtics or any other sorry team that shows up. Give them to me. That'll change in a week. Secondly, Secondly, this I noticed this on Twitter. I have had enough of Nikola Jokic once again. All right, it has officially gone too far. If I see on the TL somebody mention that he is a better scorer and offensive player than Kobe Bean Bryant, I am going to hunt down people. This is unacceptable. I will not accept, excuse me, sorry to offend anyone, this fat white guy being better than Kobe Bryant. That's not possible.
Why are you talking about me?
I'm sorry. Are you better than Kobe?
No.
Exactly. Point stands. All right. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this guy's having a LeBron-like peak 29. No. It's fine to say he's a great player. He is having an insane peak. I'm willing to accept that. Get him out of the conversation that he does not belong in. All right. Now this is the last one. I'm actually really excited about this. So this is potentially about to be ruined, and I'll explain why in a second. So if we remember, talked about this a few times on the pod before. Pistons this season set a losing streak record. During this time, Kyle Kuzma tweeted out during a Pistons Celtics game that Brock's going to pull it for us. At this point, don't be that team. All right? Don't be that team. We take a look over here at the Washington Wizards. They have lost. Let me find it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games in a row. Currently playing the Jazz, who are making it way too close. Not in the mood for this. However, this gets better. So one, Wizards, Kuz, all-time karma moment here. But if we look ahead in their schedule, the 29th game, the Pistons that the Wizards play, if they were to have a lose streak this whole time, the Detroit Pistons have the chance to do the absolute funniest thing I have ever seen and make them lose their 29th game in a row after they set the record at 28 games, and Kyle Kuzma tweeted that out. If you are not tuned into Wizards basketball for the next, 3 weeks of your life, 4 weeks of your life, we have nothing to talk about. This is prime time. I'm more excited about this than the finals if it continues, because that will be an all-time basketball game to watch. Please, everybody, watch the Wizards and pray on their downfall, because I need it in my life, and so do you. Thank you for your time.
Real quick, I'm not going to wrap up wise words of wisdom yet, because we got another comment from Max again.
No, that does not count as the Pistons stock. Monty Williams is still using an all-bench lineup for a losing basketball team. No. I thought that's actually another thing. I thought amazing. There's some Pistons fan out there that has a shirt that says, "I'm wearing the shirt until Monty Williams doesn't use an all-bench lineup," and that should be sold out in their arena every game. That is an amazing shirt. It's funny because even mentioned, like, I got to figure out how to use the bench squad, and everyone is screaming at their computer monitor. What do you mean you don't know how? It's obvious. You don't use an all-bench lineup. Little extra for you there.
That's great. That was Sensei Rose's wise words of wisdoms on the Hardwood Convos podcast. A staple in this new podcast that we started this year. But yeah, that's all we got for this week. I think next week we may do a group podcast with everybody in the 515 network and do a little March Madness, little breakdown of Selection Sunday or something like that. More information will come out as we get closer and closer to March Madness, but I couldn't leave you guys out on the fun of March Madness, because I know some of y'all love some college hoops, and I know some of y'all are on some great mid-majors this year. Shout out Grand Canyon real quick. But
Got the Lopes.
We'll send out some more information as we get closer and closer to that. We may do a little challenge to see how many who in the 515 podcast network can make the best bracket. We may do like a group bracket as well. Like we will all vote on, since we have 5 people, we can vote on it and on each game or something like that. Something fun like that. We'll have more content as we get close to March Madness, because March is probably my favorite month when it comes to sports. And the best part is on the NBA side, you know that once March ends, you're just that much closer to the NBA playoffs and the NBA finals. And I can't wait for the true hatred of the Boston Celtics to come back out from you guys, because right now it's kind of tamed because, regular season. I know it's going to, once the playoffs start, especially if the freaking Heat match up against the Celtics, the hatred is going to come out for sure from a couple of you. But until then, we will say so long for this week, and we will see everybody back next week for another episode of the Hardwood Convos here on the 515 Podcast Network. Make sure to follow, subscribe, like, share, everything. Leave a rating and support all of our podcasts, from the Hardwood Convos to the Sports Nerds to the 515 Podcast. We should have a 515 Sports Pod up tomorrow morning for your guys' viewing pleasures. But until then, we'll see you next week.